Hey guys, I hope you're all doing alright and welcome back to the B1N44 channel, and welcome to another series on this channel which may or may not continue. So with the British Grand Prix being, well, that happens, I thought it would be a good idea to look at what other championship fights have been hyped up like this, and I've boiled down to the very last race. So here are my top 5 hype championships in F1. Starting at number 5, we have the 1994 championship between Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher. Of course, we are aware of the tragic scenes that occurred that season, but Williams weren't going to go down without a fight against Michael Schumacher and Benetton. The championship boiled down to Australia, where Schumacher had a 1-point lead over Damon Hill. Schumacher clipped the barrier on lap 35 after running wide whilst leading. This meant he had damaged part of his suspension and allowed Hill to attack on the next turn. What resulted was a controversial accident where Schumacher turned in on Hill, who had tried to make a move on the inside. Schumacher nearly flipped his car as he made contact with Hill's left front tyre and went straight into the barriers. Hill had damaged his left front suspension but was still continuing. He had to finish 5th, as Adrian Newey describes, in order to win the championship, but 5th place was in fact a lap down. It may have been possible for him to continue, but alas he had to retire due to safety concerns, meaning Schumacher won the 1994 championship. On to number 4, and I have the championship fight between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost of 1989. Though some may have placed this fierce rivalry higher, I have gone for this specific year at number 4. The two McLaren teammates Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, both highly regarded as the best of all time, were battling for the 1989 championship. Senna had won it the previous year against Prost, so it was clear that Prost wanted to get back at his teammates. The two McLaren drivers locked out the front row during qualifying, Senna ahead of Prost. Senna had to win the race to be champion. However, it was Prost who got the better start and dominated for the first half of the race. But as Senna got a fresh set of tyres, he began to gain on Prost, until finally, the infamous crash happened.
This is the opportunity that Senna's looking for, and he's going through! Ouch! Oh my goodness!
Prost was out the race, but Senna managed to get going again, and went on to win and claim the championship. Or so we thought. Following the race, Senna was disqualified for cutting the chicane as he re-entered the track after contact with Prost. What followed was a battle between McLaren boss Ron Dennis and FISA, the governing body and resident to this person. Senna ended up getting fined €100,000 and banned for 6 months. This political drama ultimately meant that Prost won the 1989 championship. In at number 3, and we have the championship fight between Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Mark Webber and Lewis Hamilton in 2010. This year would spark an era of dominance for Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull. This year was particularly interesting for the controversies, constant switching between drivers at the top of the driver standings, and drama on the track. Heading into the final few races, it was the two Red Bulls, Alonso and Hamilton, that were mathematically capable of winning the championship. These races were described brilliantly in Adrian Newey's book, How to Build a Car, which I highly recommend if you haven't read it already. The final 2 rounds saw Alonso ahead of Webber by 11 points, with Hamilton a further 10 points back, and Vettel a further 4 points behind him. With just 2 rounds to go, it seemed almost impossible for Vettel to make up so much ground, as Newey describes. Logically, Mark had the better chance of winning the Drivers' Championship, and therefore Mark's camp felt that team order should be invoked. However, this would not happen as Sebastian won in Brazil from Webber, meaning he was now 3rd, just 7 points behind Webber, who was 8 points behind Alonso, who still led the championship. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton trailed in 4th with 222 points. This meant that the championship came down to Abu Dhabi. For Vettel, he would have to win, with Alonso lower than 5th. For Webber to win, he would have to win the race and Alonso finish lower than 3rd. All Alonso had to do was to stay ahead of both Red Bulls. Vettel qualified on pole and led, with Alonso in 3rd and Webber stuck behind Button with a poor qualifying. Webber pitted for an alternate strategy to try and get past Button, and Ferrari tried to cover him by pitting Alonso as well. However, as this is Ferrari, them trying to cover Red Bull also meant that Alonso fell down to 7th and Webber fell to 8th. Vettel went on to win the race, and the following team message was heard.
Vettel wins in Abu Dhabi!
Okay, Sebastian, good job. I need to wait until everybody crosses the line. I need to wait, but it's looking good. You just wait, sunshine, you just wait. Hamilton, P2, Button, P3. There's another 2 cars coming round in 15 and 16. You wait, we just need the 2 cars, mate. Just do us 2 cars. I think you'll like it. Rosberg, P4, Kubica. Kubica, P5, Du bist Weltmeister!
Thank you, boys. Unbelievable. Thank you, I love you.
Sebastian Vettel, you are the world champion! The world champion, well done, enjoy it! You are the man!
Yeah!
And what was Sebastian's way of celebrating? Well, as Adrian Newey describes it, we got to the Abu Dhabi airport, met Sebastian, whose big celebration was to treat himself to a McDonald's. Apparently he had been craving one for the whole season, but training didn't allow it. On to number 2, and I have the 1976 championship battle between Niki Lauda and James Hunt. This fight was immortalised in the film Rush, Lauda driving for Ferrari and Hunt for McLaren. The defining moment of the championship came in Germany in 1976, where treacherous conditions saw Lauda crash out and his car burst into flames. Trapped for over a minute, he was hauled out and rushed to hospital, where it was revealed he had suffered first-degree burns on his head and wrist, broken bones and damage to his lungs, having breathed toxic fumes. However, just 6 weeks later, Lauda returned, determined to keep the fight going. Somehow the Austrian finished 4th in the Italian Grand Prix, I believe, and kept his championship hopes alive against Hunt, who had made gains on Lauda's absence. The final battle came at Fuji, where conditions were once again treacherously wet. Lauda pulled into the pit, saying the conditions were too dangerous halfway through the race and decided not to finish. This meant that Hunt had to finish 3rd to claim the championship, which after a relentless chase in the wet, as portrayed in Rush, he did, winning the 1976 championship. Finally in at number 1, a battle I put due to how famous it has become due to the events that occurred during the final race of that season. I am of course talking about the 2008 championship battle between Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa. The title boiled down to the 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix, where mixed weather impacted the race heavily. Massa qualified from pole and had to win, with Hamilton lower than 5th, I believe. As the first round of pit stops arrived, Hamilton fell back from 4th to behind the likes of Alonso, Fisichella and Vettel, whilst Massa cruised away in the lead. However, with the second round of pit stops, Hamilton was back in contention, but rain started to fall in the closing stages of the Grand Prix. This meant that Hamilton, Raikkonen and Vettel came in for intermediate tyres with 5 laps to go, but some cars decided not to pit. Massa pitted the lap after and continued to lead. Hamilton then lost 5th place to Vettel after letting a car that was lapping him through. Massa crossed the line on lap 71 and Brazil erupted as he had won the championship. For a few seconds, as Hamilton rounded the final few corners, the following scene could be seen.
And is that Glock? Is that Glock going slowly?
It is,
That's
it's Glock. Oh my goodness me, Hamilton's back in position again. 100,000 local hearts sink in the grandstands. It's handed the place back to Hamilton. He comes through, and if I'm absolutely right, I'm sure that he is going to claim 5th place, which is all he needs to do to become
Yes.
the 2008 Formula One World Champion, Lewis Hamilton. And you will, well, the Ferrari boys are celebrating, but
They both think they
both
won,
think
but
they've won it,
Ferrari
but
are wrong.
Ferrari are wrong. They're absolutely
No,
wrong.
you're wrong,
Hamilton's
guys.
finished
Glock.
5th. You will never see a more dramatic conclusion to any motor race, let alone a Grand Prix, than that. And the result of it all is that Lewis Hamilton is the world champion.
Hamilton claimed 5th place, which meant he had won the 2008 Formula One World Championship. And with that is all from me. If you think I missed out on a championship fight that deserved to be on this list, or if you have an alternative list, then be sure to comment it down below. And if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I've been B1N4G4, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.